Today we're testing my written instructions for the Gigi Duo pouch. This is this duo pouch that I made back in September of last year, and I have them on my website, and they come in 3 sizes: large, medium, and the mini. And some of you have asked for the written instructions, so I said, well, why not? You know, I can write the instructions in. If you want to make your own Gigi Duo pouch, you can. So I wrote the instructions back in October, and I made it with the large Gigi Duo pouch, and it looked good. So now I'm going to test the instructions that I wrote. All that means is that I am not going to look at the video. I'm only going to look at the step-by-step instructions, following the instructions to make a small Gigi Duo pouch. And the reason for the small is because it's the exact same steps for all 3 sizes. It's just the sum of the measurements might be a little bit different. So that's what we're doing. We're testing my new PDF file, PDF instructions for this pouch. And in this video, we're going to do a mini. Okay, so will it work? Let's see. I pulled all my pattern pieces that I had already worked on, and I had actually started cutting the fabric for the small Gigi Duo pouch. And so I decided to start working on that one today. I have my pattern instructions here, which I'm still working on them because I'm writing any updates, anything that I think may still be needed. I'm reading it, and if it doesn't make any sense, then I'm rewriting it, etc. And I have some, notes here for measurements and whatnot. The very first Gigi Duo pouch I made to write the instructions was the large Gigi Duo pouch. But I still have 2 other sizes I want to finish, the medium and the small. The process to make the Gigi Duo pouch is the same no matter the size, but there are some differences, small differences in some of the sizes where you place your magnetic snap and the zippers and all of that, depending on the size of the bag. So the very first instructions here is mainly for the large Gigi Duo pouch. Granted, I am reading through all the instructions right now, and I'm trying to, find anything that doesn't make sense, that needs to be rewritten, that I may have missed, etc. But as I'm doing that, I'm also working on the small Gigi Duo pouch, and I decided to do that one because as I pull all the fabric and all the pattern pieces and the instructions and everything from my work in progress bag, I realized that I had already cut the small Gigi Duo pouch, and I decided to just go ahead and finish it. So I have my 2 tabs here, and I'm using faux leather for this one. So we're gonna have to do some edge coating. And I joined the 2 pieces. You can glue them. They're not perfectly glued together. They're still opening in there. Instead of fabric glue or glue for leather, I actually used my heat and bond, liquid vinyl, because that is great also to join the fabrics and kind of glue it together. So I used that. And then I have here my pieces, all my zippers and everything. So I'm going to make the small Gigi Duo pouch But as I'm making it, I'm going to follow the written instructions to make sure I didn't miss anything and to write the right measurements to, correct anything and make sure I have the correct measurements for the GG, for the small GG. Okay, small GG. Also, I need to rewrite these templates. I use these sheets from the Dollar Tree. These are kitchen mats. They're kind of see-through. They used to be more see-through. Now they make them with like this white matte look. But I mean, they still work. But they're great to do pattern templates because you can draw on them with your markers, your Sharpies, and then any regular scissors work to cut it. Just like that. It's the best. So I buy these and I keep a bunch in here around because I'm always using them. So as you can see, I have all the patterns templates that I've been testing, and you have the pattern, the half of it that where you cut on the fold of the fabric here, but then I also trace them where I join both of them to kind of see the total width. I like to cut my fabric sometimes like that and not on the fold, so that's why I did this. But I have so many different measurements, as you can see here. I'm getting confused. I don't even know which one is the front strap, the back strap, the top, and the this and the other. It's confusing. It really is getting confusing because I think I was doing it so that if I want to do like the bottom in faux leather and the top in fabric, then I can, that's the middle line. I think that's what I was doing. See, that's the problem. When you stop doing something and then you try to pick it up, 5 months later, you're not going to remember. I have to go through all of these and remember everything. So I think that I'd really want to do first is go through all of these and redo them without all that so that I can be clear on the right measurements, the right placement of the snaps, the right everything. I'm going to work on the small pouch, but I'm going to retrace this small pouch, and I'm going to retrace it only half of it, so on the fold. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the measurements here from the original pattern piece that I drew on the computer and look and see the distance for the snap placement and mark the distance here for the placement of the zipper. And another measurement I need to mark on this is the corners. When you add the clear vinyl, there is a difference there. There's like a spot where you need to stop stitching and continue so that it you can have clean corners. So I'm going to place those markings as well. I'm finding that I have 3 different measurements for the clear vinyl that goes inside the GG Duo pouch. So I'm making the small GG Duo pouch, which is the one, like this one is my personal one. I carry this around with me everywhere I go in my purse. And I have just my makeup, little things that, you know, maybe a flash drive, some nail polish sometimes, some vitamins, whatever, okay? Lipstick, definitely. Okay, so you see this clear part is what helps see what's inside the bag, and then when you close it, nobody else can see what's inside your bag, only you can. I put, you know, personal items in here, you know, things that you need to have handy, but you don't want everybody else to see. So this is great. So this section right here is the measurement I'm trying to figure out right now. And based on the instructions that I wrote, the measurements that I have on my pattern piece, on this pattern piece, and I did, okay, so the pattern piece actually has one measurement, which I also had these sticky notes taped on my table when I was making these for Christmas time, and it has a different size. So I have 1, 2, and then my pattern that I wrote has a different size. So now what I'm going to do is, since I had already cut this pattern before I stopped during Christmas time, I had already cut it. So when I cut this, it was supposed to be the correct size, right? But now remember, I just increased the pattern by like 1/2 inch because I wanted to make it even and not have so many fractions. So let's see what this is. Okay, so you will know the final measurements when you get the pattern. I cannot share the measurements with you. Let's keep working on this. I think now I'm at the right point to put the pieces together. So remember that I had already cut few months ago the outer part of the mini GG Duo pouch using faux leather. I had already cut the tabs, which I do have the measurements for that. I'm not confused about that. And I have the zipper. And I have the clear vinyl. So I had already cut all of the pieces. I realized that I did have only 2 measurements from the clear vinyl. What happened was that I put like the amount of vinyl you will need, clear vinyl, for the small GG Duo pouch. That's not the measurement of the pattern. That's just how much clear vinyl you will need. So I need to make sure that I clarify that in the pattern instructions, that this is like 1/4 yard, you know, so then you need this much space, this much clear vinyl, but the actual pattern piece measurement is this. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to thread my machine with the correct thread color for this blue. And I am going to get started with this. I think I do need to cut a little piece of the binding for the inside. I think that's the only piece that I am missing. Okay. And now I have the raw edges here that I just need to kind of trim off a little bit. Another thing I can do, which I may do now, is add some edge coat painting around the edges and let it cure overnight, because that gives it a nice finish. I'm not an expert at that. I do follow some people that do a great job, so I have learned from them quite a few things. But yeah, that is optional. But if you want it to look really nice and finished, you can do that. And I can tell here that some of the fabric is not even, so I have to kind of even it out. So that will be necessary. So I'm in the process now of starting to follow the instructions that I already wrote for the Gigi Duo pouch, right? For the small. And I finished the edge coating on the flap. I think I'm going to add another coat of the black one. So make it look a little bit better, but this is done. I want to follow the instructions just the way they are written to make sure I am not missing anything, right? So I am literally taking the written instructions and following step by step, like if I don't know how to make it or I don't have a video. But guess what? I can't find the instructions I printed. I printed them. You saw me a minute ago writing on them, and I have my materials here. I had it all in a bag and everything was inside the bag, but no instructions. So now I'm looking for these instructions everywhere and I cannot find them. And I have to leave. I have to go do something else. So I was hoping that in the next 30 minutes or so, I could do one step before I have to stop and do what I need to do. But I don't think that's going to be the case because I cannot find the instructions. I do not know where I put them. And I looked in the trash. I looked everywhere in my notes, everywhere. I cannot find the instructions. So I don't know. Just pray for me, okay? I found them, okay? They were in between the templates. I'm telling you, if I lose all of the notes that I already wrote here, they're handwritten in the pattern of things that I have discovered, okay, that I need to change, I would be a very, very upset person. But what this tells me is that I need to go into the program and type all the things I have already done. It's not a lot, but I would hate to have to redo all this. You know what I mean? So maybe what I need to do is, instead of sewing and instead of trying to follow the steps, stop for a moment, type what I have changed so far, what I know I need to update, and then continue. Because I don't want to have my heart right here on my throat thinking that I lost all the notes. So I'm going to do that before I continue. So as I'm typing this, I get to this point where this section, I had circled it because it looked like I needed to redo it, right? And as I'm reading it, I don't understand what I wrote. And imagine that. I've made tens of these bags. Tens of it, like almost 100. So that means I've made this step several times, and I'm reading it and I don't understand what I'm reading. So of course, someone who's never made this bag before is not going to understand it either. And I did add a couple of tips here, like measure the distance to make sure that both sides are even. Okay. But there's a section here that I am really having a hard time describing it, how to do it. Maybe with the pictures, you'll see what I'm trying to do. But I definitely have to think about this and rewrite it, because it's just not making a lot of sense. I'm done typing, because come to find out that I've only made corrections up to a point of the pattern here. Like when up to the point of joining the zipper and joining the exterior and lining. And then after that, I don't have any more corrections to type. All that means is that I started making a pouch and I stopped at that point. It's not that I don't have any more corrections to make. So what I'll do is that I'm going to now start making the small GG Duo pouch, following kind of like the steps, right? And when I get to the point where I don't have any more corrections, I'm sure I will. So I'll start making those corrections and then I'll come back to the computer and type those. But you know, I'm like halfway there on corrections. I still need, like, this is page 6, page 8, and that's it. And so far I have written about 15 pages, I think. 13 pages. This is a great activity, really, to go through the pattern and make another sample following the pattern instructions, because it made me realize that I'm just adding a lot of things that are not necessary. And sometimes I know, because I've purchased patterns, and too much information sometimes can confuse people. But then not having enough information can also be detrimental to obtaining the final piece that you want, right? So it's finding that balance in between what is too much information and what is not enough. So I have definitely decided to remove certain things from the pattern that are good information to know, but it could be an optional step. It could be something for the future. It could be something that I can offer later on. In other words, I am making one with faux leather right now, but I think this step is the only step really that is different for the faux leather. So I am going to share this step either later on at the end of the pattern, or as a future video, or just or something optional that I can teach in the future. And I'm just going to focus on writing the instructions, step-by-step details based on using quilting cotton or home decor fabric only. If I see that there's a need for a desire from other people that they want to make it using the faux leather, then at that point I can decide if I'm going to include or share or teach that how to do that. But right now I'm going to finish this one because I already started it, but I think I'm going to the instructions itself, I'm going to focus on just quilting cotton or home decor fabric. And I'm at the point to square off the bottom. And this step can be a little bit tricky to explain it in writing, or at least I'm having a hard time doing that. So I'm trying to decide if I really want to step by step write it down, or just do like the basic, like bring the back to the front, align it, like the basics, and include the link to the video, which I'm already doing that because this will have a video tutorial. And throughout the pattern, I am adding, like in this case, for example, the timestamp when this step is happening in the video. So people can click on that and go to the video and see exactly how that step is being done. So do I want to spend a lot of time and effort trying to explain how to do this section? It may not be that difficult. Maybe I'm just getting ahead of the game here. Maybe once I start writing it, I realize, oh, it's not that bad. Or should I just say square off the corner by joining the exterior to the clear vinyl, and then explaining in more details the video, which I'm already going to have. But some of us like to just read the instructions and not watch the video. Some of us like to watch the video and not read the instructions. And some of us like to do both. So I'm trying to be accommodating to all learning styles. Okay. So yeah, let me think about this. This is good. I don't know if I like the flap made out of faux leather though. I think I'm going to continue to do the flap with fabric. It's a matter of preference, but okay. I'm gonna stitch it down the center now and finalize the testing of the small GG pouch compared to the PDF pattern. Okay, finally, here is the small GG duo pouch. Let's be honest, it wasn't that hard, and I only really needed to change the measurements for the clear vinyl on the inside. Those were the only measurements that I was not sure about, but I tested all the other measurements and it turned out pretty good. So I'm happy with the final result. I think I'm ready to just continue updating the PDF file, just the final steps that if there's any, I'll just have to review that and I'll be ready to move on to the second test, which is testing the medium GG Duo pouch. But if you want to see the original GG Duo pouch, when I launched it and when I kind of started thinking about making the PDF instructions, go ahead and check out that video here. And I'll see you there. Ciao!